Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes.
All right, let's talk Oklahoma State because now it really begins. This is it. Preseason's over. It's game time.
Well, we've known that this was the game all along. This is exactly where I expected us to be. 3-0.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this
is it. It's go time.
Now it's go time. You're right. And Oklahoma State is a good football team.
Yeah.
We're going to have to play some ball. Okay.
100%.
But I want to ask this before we get going down on some of the stuff. What do you think about Gundy, Mike Gundy?
He's goofy and I love it.
I like it. I love it, man.
He and Whittingham have been at their respective schools for almost the exact same amount of time. Very similar winning records. And they're very similar. And I like the guy.
Yeah, but their personalities could not be more different.
No, they're very different. But I just love the way, like his interview this week, he's talking the Coke machine's making weird noises, and he's over there going,
I watched that.
You got to get a new compressor in that thing. And it's like bugging him. Can we unplug it? Like he's just, I love it. I think he's a good coach.
Went over unplugged.
Yeah. I love the personality, the attitude. I think he's awesome.
Well, obviously he's a good coach. And even Whittingham said this, that to last this long in this business, you have to be talented at it.
Yeah.
Which I love that he was giving himself that compliment.
That's true. That's a little pat on the back.
Because he's been around just as long. So yeah, he's an interesting guy. I will be honest, I have not paid that much attention to Oklahoma State prior to this year. Just because
no reason.
They're always in the mix.
Except I would always watch like the Oklahoma State game every year, usually. So I don't know. I like Gundy.
So Stillwater. No, we're not going to be there.
I know, unfortunately.
From is that Carrie W?
Unless someone wants to, charter a private jet. Anybody here at Flanker have that kind of money? That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Because flights are expensive.
Yeah, I looked at them. They're like $1,000+.
But the stadium is, I think, as far as capacity, is about the same as Rice Eccles. They're pretty close.
Very close.
And here's the thing I wasn't actually thinking about till yesterday when I saw it pop up on social media. It's going to be freaking 97 degrees.
Yeah. Plus humidity.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
At what time is it there?
It'll be 3 o'clock kick with their central time.
That's going to be hot. That's going to be a factor.
Yeah, it'll be really hot.
So anyway.
Yeah. So.
But I'm looking forward to it. This is great. But right out of the gate, man, this game here, in my view, do you say must win? No. But we got to win.
It's not a must win, but I think it really.
Everyone's scheduled though.
But it shows it's a really good. Hey, where are we? Sort of a game.
But man,
like if it's these are two top 15 teams right now. I mean, they're 14, we're 12 on the road. It's a great barometer to say, hey, how good are we? Are we the top of this conference or not? That's what this game's going to show. And Whittingham even said this: if you want to be the best, if you want to go to championship games and you want to go to the playoff, you have to win on the road. You're going to have to win on the road. And this is the game that I think most Utah fans have had circled as one of, if not the hardest test of the season. So go win the game and you go, okay, let's go. Now the rest of the schedule lines up really nicely.
I am interested to see who's going. If you're in the chat and if you're going, is anybody here going?
Take a cool rag. And
no, you're not going. No.
Nobody?
I know. Well, it's.
You sure?
Come on, man, go.
I know the 97 degrees and humid makes me go, oh, okay, I'm kind of glad that I'm maybe not going to be there, but
I know it'd be so hot.
Okay, so when we talk Oklahoma State, I think it's fair you have to talk about at least two guys for sure. And number one is Ollie Gordon.
Yep.
Okay, he was the offensive player of the year in the Big 12 last year.
I think he's the
2023
best running back in the country.
He's considered the best or one of the best running backs. So Utah's going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. And if they are tackling like they did last week, it could be a problem.
But here's the interesting thing. Bernard has more yards than Gordon does at this very moment.
And less carries.
On the season and less carries. So that's it's interesting. I've only watched one Oklahoma State game so far this season. I watched was it Arkansas?
Yeah, the Arkansas game.
When they had to go to double overtime. And Gordon couldn't get anything going. He was struggling in that game. I don't know. It really shocks me right now. He's got 62 carries for 216 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So he's averaging what, like 3
Like
yards?
2.5, 2.6 or something like that.
But Bernard has 41 carries for 274 yards and only 1 touchdown. It's just interesting that on less carries, Bernard has more yards.
Well, and I've seen this argument is, well, who have they played? They've actually played very similar competition. So they beat South Dakota State in their first game. Second game, they went to overtime.
Double overtime. They had to go to double overtime
with
to beat
Arkansas. And I would put Arkansas Baylor in very similar. I think Arkansas will be better, but very similar. Okay, Power 5 school. And then last week, they blew out Tulsa. So very similar schedules to this point. So I do find that really interesting. I haven't seen much of their games, more highlights than anything. He still looks good though, and he's still their
obviously
threat.
he's gonna be a massive threat. It's just interesting that we actually have more yards as
Yeah, okay.
a running back.
Here's the thing. I watched 2 of Gundy's press conferences, and he addressed that. And what it is that all of the teams are loading the box with an extra 1 or 2 guys to stop him.
Which is exactly what I would do.
Okay. And he anticipates Utah to do it, he said, too. So, but having done that, and he explained, Ollie understands and whatever. So, but when they do that, then it goes to the passing game. And that's how you have to look at it. That Bowman, who's their QB, he's a 7th-year senior starting quarterback. He's like Cam.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Been 7 years. He started at Texas Tech. He was there for several years. He went to Michigan. He transferred to Michigan, but they had McNamara at the time, and then they had J.J. McCarthy, the 5-star. He was there, and so he left, and Bowman then ended up last year at Oklahoma State. He's a big guy. I mean, I think he's 6'3", 220, something like that. He's a tall dude. And so they've been able to stop Gordon. But if you watch their games, dude, he's lighting it up. They got some receivers.
That's the key. They have some very talented receivers.
He's not the dual threat guy.
No, he's going to
a
drop
big
back
guy.
and throw
He's more
it
in the pocket.
Yep.
But he can throw it. He's experienced. They average as far as passing yards per game, 334 yards a game passing.
Okay.
And I think his pass percentage is like 66% or something like that.
It is.
And when I'm watching the games, those quick recaps where you get most of the game, you don't have to go through all the commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
They're great.
The game. I'm watching him, and so when they can't run, they're not a dink. At least what I've seen, they're not like a dink and dunk team, man. They do these slants and they go deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our corners are going to be tested in this game.
So this is going to be interesting. We're going to go after Ollie Gordon so he can't torch us, but our secondary linebackers are going to be tested. That's the way it's going to be. Their offense is good, man. Their offense is good.
The strategy though, I agree with the strategy is you stop Ollie Gordon and you make that guy beat you. He's very talented. I'm not slamming on the guy, but if you're going to pick your poison against Oklahoma State, I'm going to make him throw the ball 35 times a game and see if he can beat me through the air and limit what Ollie Gordon can do. That's the play. I think that's what Utah's going to do. Having Reed out is going to hurt.
Well, that was my question of course, we don't know anything with Reed or what his timeline is or anything like that. It seems like maybe it was an ankle injury from a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if we're going to have him back, unfortunately.
I think Barton's going to have a game. I think this is going to be Barton's best game of the year. He's been relatively quiet. He's had some plays. I think that this could be his game.
I think Oklahoma State, their strength is their offense. They've been putting up points. They average 40 a game. I understand the teams they're playing, but whether it's running or passing, I've been impressed. But looking at their defense, I think their defense is vulnerable.
It's very vulnerable.
I mean, yeah, I was watching the Arkansas game. Jaquindon Jackson, by the way, tore him up.
Yeah, he did. He had a game.
So, JJ, you should have stayed with the Utes, man. But anyway, he had a great game. But if you look at their stats, so their offensive stats are really good. But their defensive stats, for instance, with the rushing yardage. They allow, what is it?
They allow 157.3 yards per game.
Okay, and then also the passing yardage per game
over 300.
Over 300. So Utah needs, they can move. They should be able to move the ball. So I feel like the offenses are going to move the ball. I don't think this is going to be like a 20-20 type.
I think that's the key to the game is their offense is good.
Yeah.
Their offense isn't insane. It's not, this offense is going to put up 64 points a game, but it's solid. Their defense is where Utah has to win this game. Our offense has to take advantage because I pulled up those stats too. They're 124th in yards allowed, 128th in passing yards allowed, 122nd. These are all national rankings in first downs allowed, 92nd in rushing yards per game, and then 61st, which is kind of surprising considering all the yards they give up. It seems like they do clamp down in the red zone, but they're still 61st nationally in points per game. So Utah has to control the ball, limit the amount of times that Ollie Gordon is on the field, and take advantage and score when they have those opportunities, because that's where it's going to be the weakest.
And see, that's where we go back to talking about Cam. We don't really know what Cam's readiness is, so it's frustrating.
I mean, the games we've seen, even against Baylor, he looked fantastic. He looked great. I mean, he's played a grand total of 4 quarters, and he's got 7 touchdowns already. I get
right, and
Southern Utah,
no interceptions, and
I understand it's the talent that he's played against. But Baylor, he's got 7 touchdowns already, 0 interceptions. Keep him upright. Stop taking freaking unnecessary hits.
But the Arkansas game, if you look, see, to me, it gives me more of Arkansas is a decent football team.
Yeah.
Okay. And Arkansas this is the thing. Arkansas put up 648 yards against Oklahoma State defense.
Jeez, I didn't realize there's that many.
If they can do it, then we got to be able to score, man. Now they put up 385 on Arkansas. Arkansas just choked that game.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they absolutely did.
They had that game won.
Oklahoma State actually should have lost. There was multiple opportunities that Arkansas could have put it away.
Arkansas threw for 416 and ran for 232. All I'm saying is
our offense can do it.
Their defense doesn't appear to be the shutdown D. We've got to move and score, because I feel like their offense is going to be able to score on us. So
the only thing I hate about stats like that is it was double overtime.
Yeah, but it's not the NFL where you start at the 25.
Yeah, it's a little different.
I know, but still, you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
And especially like the QB, his stats, because I can't remember exactly what the plays were, but extra touchdowns and things like that. Anyways, but whatever.
You gotta.
Arkansas could have put it away, and they missed some opportunities. So,
hey,
hopefully
I was cheering for you, Oklahoma State. I was cheering for you in that game, and you pulled it out. But now
we're not cheering for you.
I just think that X factor is the heat, the humidity. That stadium environment is notorious for being a great crowd, and I think that they are going to want to come out and prove, hey, the new guy in town is not the best.
Of course,
so
absolutely.
It's gonna be a great game. And Utah, if they come out slow like they did against Utah State, they're in trouble, because they will get down 21-7, 21-3 early, and then you're digging yourself out of these holes. They cannot start slow. They need to start fast. They get up 21-7, force them to throw the ball. That's where Utah's going to be. Utah's going to win.
Yeah. Okay. Here. So you said. The keys of the game, that the way I look at it, I'm not interested in what the chat or others may think about it, and I think we've already talked about it. You have is limit Gordon.
Yes.
Okay. You got to limit. He can't go off for 200.
Keep him under 100 yards.
Okay.
That's the goal.
For me, though, if that's what we do, he's going to get some yards. But if we can control him, Bowman is going to throw, and these dudes, they're gonna press, they're stretch the field on us.
Yeah,
what I've seen is, so it does matter that we get pressure on the dude. Mm-hmm. He's not as mobile. He's not the two-way guy or the guy that can run and pass. So if we can get pressure on the guy, it's really we can slow them down a lot, and then we need to score points. I don't think we.
What's their O-line like? Do we have any idea what their O-line is like? Oklahoma State fans, I don't know what their O-line is like. I know Utah's D line is great.
Gundy, when I was listening to him, I'm sure I'll get corrected. Some Oklahoma State fan's gonna watch this and
blast
I
you.
don't
he
care.
wasn't on his O line, but he was saying they had to do some improvements.
Well, Connor Earl says their O line is good.
They're gonna be
Give them a grade,
they're
like a
always-
B.
they're gonna score. I'm just saying we need to score.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're
we
right.
can.
I don't think this is a 21-23
man, no
game.
way.
This is
You got a prediction? What are you thinking?
Oh, are we doing
We're there already?
predictions?
Yeah, we're there. Let's do it. Who's got what prediction? Utah, Oklahoma State.
Oh,
35,
Coronavirus.
34
What do you got
Utah.
out there?
35,
35,
34.
34.
That's
What
not
you got?
right.
What you got? Like 31-28.
For
I like
Utah?
it. Well, yeah. Look, well, of course.
I know. Well, I have to
For Utah?
ask. Yeah, I mean, well, because you just don't know.
Oh, 38-21. I like it.
Okay.
I like it, Pilgrim.
Pac-12 Pilgrim.
33-26.
I will.
Ooh, if
I
we
will
can
say,
hold them to 26
Did
points,
you give us one?
that
What you got? 28-24.
I think it's going to be close.
I think it's just close. It's one of those
What do you got,
games.
man? I already said.
he said his.
35-34 Utah.
I'm going. I do think it's going to be 38, 34, 35, something like
But
that.
right in that mid 30s.
I think we're going to be in the 30s. I think it's going to be upper 30s. I think it's going to be tight. I think Utah can pull it out, but
And
we have
you're,
to score
are you choosing Utah?
What
Oh
the
my
freak?
gosh. Hey, they're saying the O line is really good according to our chat. So that's good for them because that's where Utah's going to have to
That's
win
what I'm
this
saying.
game.
They're when I watch their
Experience.
games, particularly against Arkansas, because they were the best competition they played.
Yeah.
I was impressed with their offense, man. They were moving the ball, and I'm going to say this: Gundy's going to throw in a trick play. Mark my word.
Oh, he always
Oh,
does.
yeah.
Okay, you got to be ready for a trick play from Gundy.
Well, Whittingham might do the same.
But Gundy, he does that stuff. But when I was watching, I was impressed with their offense and the way they stretched the field against them. But again, I didn't think their defense was that great. So Utah has to match it. They're gonna move it on us.
For what it's worth, the line is 2.5 in favor of
Them.
Oklahoma State. ESPN's predictor as of right now has Oklahoma's a 60 point, which surprise me. 60%.
60% chance to win is
That
what
surprised me.
ESPN's
That's a high number. I would
predictor
have
is.
thought it was more 55-ish. But
I don't know, everybody.
You know why this game though is big? And I don't know everyone's schedule, off the top of my head, but when you look at Oklahoma State's upcoming schedule, so they play us and Kansas State. Those are two massive games,
Oh.
back to back.
back to back. So
Oh, yeah.
that's going to determine. Honestly, that's going to.
I wish we were the second game that they had
You
to
know
play.
what? Me too.
But then they play
Not the
West
first game.
Virginia,
West Virginia.
the Zoobs, Baylor, Arizona State, TCU, Texas Tech, Colorado. These games right now are very critical. That's why I'm saying this is a big game.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's the same with
But
us.
I will
We
say
go
this.
them
Look,
and then
listen,
we go
listen,
Arizona.
Yeah.
I will. Yes, I know.
We got to go to UCF at the end, which
I will say this, Utah fans, if we do lose, it's not, don't burn the buildings to the ground.
We're not
Don't be
gonna
jumping off
lose.
of bridges like it. This is the first real game. There's a lot of football left to be played. Yeah, and look, two teams make it to the freaking championship game. So whether you're the first seed, the second seed, the goal is that. Now, obviously, we're gonna win, and I want us to win. But I'm just saying, I've been down this road enough times that you lose one game and everyone's fire everybody.
You got to look at 30,000 foot.
You got to look at it as
Dude.
in totality and go, okay,
You got to win.
now if they do lose, then every game becomes that much more important. You're right. Arizona comes to town the next week. What happened
I'm
to them over
saying
the
is-
freaking weekend? But still,
Let's do it.
just win.
Guys,
All right.
I'm out here
All
on
right.
an island by myself this time. That's okay.
What's your
What?
island?
What
What
did you
do you
do?
say?
Did you pick Oklahoma State? Did you pick?
I haven't.
Why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Because from the beginning of the season, when I have predicted Utah's
right.
schedule, this
So did I,
this
but you
one
still
was
pick
always
your
the
team to
one.
win.
Are you kidding me?
Pick it. Let's hear it.
Pick it.
Hold on, real quick before you do it. Texas Mike, get ready to clip this.
Yeah. Hey,
He
Texas.
clips
I
everybody.
don't know if Texas Mike is here. I
He'll
haven't seen
find
him
it.
in the
He'll find
chat.
it.
I'll
He'll
tag
tonight.
him.
No, my score prediction's 42-38. So
Utah?
do with that what you will.
Wow.
That's fine. That's fine. Bring it on. It's fine.
Boo.
I just don't know. I mean, on the road, our first, I don't know.
I know.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Utah, please prove me wrong.
Disappointed in you, but I'm not
It's
surprised by you.
listen, it's reverse psychology.
Oh yeah, because
They putting that out in the atmosphere. Is that what it is?
It's worked before, so we're gonna try it again.